as local news gets. News 12, the Bronx.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Jessica Cunnington. In Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, Saturday, 2 officers are shot and killed with no warning as they sat in their patrol car. We begin with our team coverage with News 12 The Bronx reporter Amanda Placencia. She's at the scene of the shooting in Bed-Stuy and has the latest for us. Amanda.
Yes, Jessica, it's just heartbreaking and unsettling to see all of these officers still scouring the scene here where 2 cops were shot and killed. 2 of New York's finest, Rafael Ramos and Wen Jianlu, were gunned down just a block away from where I am right here on Vernon and Tompkins Avenues in Bed-Stuy. Now, it was just chaotic out here earlier. Police were scouring the entire area as these 2 officers were taken to Woodhull Hospital, but sadly they did not make it. They were both pronounced dead. Police say Ramos and Liu were eating lunch inside their patrol car when an armed man, 28-year-old Ishmael Brinsley, came out of nowhere and ambushed them. He shot at them point blank, execution style, ran off down into a nearby subway, and then committed suicide by shooting himself in the head. Cops say Brinsley had shot and injured his girlfriend in Baltimore earlier in the day and then posted anti-police comments on social media. He then made his way down to Brooklyn. This shooting, called an assassination by many, comes at a time when tensions are high all over the city with protests over the recent death of Eric Garner. Local leaders say they are just mourning these deaths and sounded off about this unfortunate crime.
This is about being human now. We are waging a war that we cannot win. We need to come together as a community and do something about this, because it's going to get better.
As frustrated and as aggravated as they are, even with the Garner case, even with the Akai Gurley case, no one's saying kill police officers, right? Nobody's saying that. Everybody knows that we need police officers in our community to help us to peacefully coexist.
Now we're told that Ramos had actually just celebrated his 40th birthday and Liu had just recently gotten married just 2 months ago. Many out here say they're just praying for these cops' families at this tragic time. Reporting in Bed-Stuy, Amanda Placencia, News 12.
So sad. Thank you so much, Amanda, for that. We're going to turn now to your hyperlocal forecast and your weather on the 2s. A Brooklyn woman was arraigned Saturday morning in connection with the attack on 2 officers on the Brooklyn Bridge last weekend. 36-year-old Maria Garcia was arrested Friday in the wake of that attack, which sent 2 lieutenants to the hospital. According to published reports, she faces charges of resisting arrest, rioting, and obstructing governmental administration. Garcia was the 2nd person to be arrested in connection to the incident, and now we've learned that a 3rd person has been arrested. He's been identified as 32-year-old Zachary Campbell of Brooklyn. There's a $25,000 reward for anyone who can help find any of the other suspects. And it's one of the busiest shopping days of the year, Super Saturday, and Bronxites were out and about Saturday despite the cold, getting some last-minute deals for the holidays. News 12 The Bronx reporter Rena Roy has more from Fordham Road.
From Fordham Road, I'm Rena Roy, News 12 The Bronx.
Now, the Fordham Road Business Improvement District wants to make sure your shopping experience is as easy as possible, and that's why they've created a mobile app offering different coupons and promotions. They're the first bid in the city to have their own mobile app, and you can download it by searching for Fordham Road in the App Store or on Google Play. For a look at some of those exclusive coupons, just head on over to our website, news12.com, and click on numbers and links. I'm Jessica Cunnington. More of your hyperlocal headlines are just 2 minutes away, plus more from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, and that horrific shooting that left 2 officers dead. This is News 12 The Bronx, as local news gets. We continue our team coverage of the police killings out of Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. News 12 The Bronx reporter Katie Lusso tells us what the commissioner and mayor spoke about and who these fallen officers were. Katie.
And Jessica, they talked a lot about that. They talked a lot about the pain that everyone is going through right now. And walking through the halls of Woodhull Hospital, you could just see the pain in every single police officer's eyes as they stood there in solidarity, showing support to these 2 officers and every officer out there. Now, if you take a look at some video, you can see the procession as the ambulance was going away with the 2 officers inside, carrying them away from the hospital. All of the police officers outside standing at attention. Now, investigators say 84th Precinct Officer Ramos and Officer Officer Liu shot by Ishmael Brinsley, execution style, without warning and for no reason other than for the fact that they are police officers. Ramos, a father to a 13-year-old boy, who is now left with questions and confusions as to why this happened to his father. The veteran NYPD officer was with school safety officer for many years and celebrated his 40th birthday on December 12th. Meanwhile, Officer Liu also recently celebrated a big life event, getting married just 2 months ago. His parents and new wife now heartbroken. In a powerful and somber press conference, Commissioner Bratton and Mayor de Blasio saying it's difficult to find words to try and bring sense to the events that unfolded here in Brooklyn.
Today, 2 of New York's finest were shot and killed with no warning, no provocation. They were quite simply assassinated, targeted for their uniform and for the responsibility they embraced to keep the people of this city safe.
MPBA Pat Lynch holding a press conference outside after just asking everyone to have some sympathy tonight. He's asking people to bow their heads and remember not only the officers who were killed today, but also every single officer who gets up and puts that badge and uniform on and goes out to serve. That is the latest from here in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. I'm Katie Lussell. Let's send it back to you in the studio.
Thanks so much for that report, Katie. Well, many of you will probably want to get in better shape for the new year, and the state's Parks Department can help with that. The Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation is sponsoring guided hikes at 27 different parks on January 1st. It's the 4th year the agency has held the event to encourage people to spend the day outdoors. And for more information, you can head on over to news12.com and click on numbers and links. Chrysler is expanding a recall of cars and trucks equipped with Takata airbags. The automaker will now replace driver's side airbags in 2.9 million vehicles in the U.S. and several thousand more worldwide. The initial U.S. recall was limited to a few states where it was believed heat and humidity would increase the chance the airbags would explode, but Chrysler faced mounting pressure from federal regulators to expand the recall nationwide. A group of Bronx tenants rally in Mount Eden, shouting, "This is our home." It's the underlying message in their fight for stronger state rent laws. News 12 The Bronx reporter Brittany Miller has more.
Brittany Miller reporting, News 12 The Bronx.
And we reached out to the Rent Stabilization Association of New York City, which represents a number of property owners throughout the city. We're still waiting for a comment back from them. Turning now to our weather on the Tuesday. I'm Jessica Cunnington. This is News 12 The Bronx, as local news gets. Coming up, we'll have much more of your hyperlocal headlines. Stay with us. Elected officials joined the family of Ildefonso Romero Saturday evening in a candlelit vigil while talking about stiffer penalties for physical assaults that result in death. Romero was killed in August after trying to break up a fight between 2 teens. One of the teens punched Romero once, and when he hit the concrete, he later died. Now, State Senator Jeffrey Klein is trying to introduce new legislation that would strengthen criminal penalties for physical assaults, commonly known as one-punch offenses.
The family wanted us to do it in a way to make sure that if this ever happens to somebody else, that they're punished in the right way, making sure that we seek actual justice.
The accused attacker in Romero's death is facing a misdemeanor charge, which carries a penalty of 6 months to a year in prison. In news around the country, Sony is canceling tours of its California movie studios. It's the latest adjustment the production company is making after a major cyber attack. The FBI says it was North Korean hackers who broke into Sony's computers and threatened American movie theaters with violence if they decided to screen the movie The Interview, a comedy depicting the assassination of Kim Jong-un. Sony says the movie will not be released after major theaters backed out of showing the film. As for the studio tours, they should be up and running again next year. And also in the wake of that cyber attack, North Korea has proposed a joint investigation with the U.S. into the incident. Officials there claim they're being framed as a culprit and would like to see concrete evidence proving they're behind the hacking. In addition, North Korea's state-run news agency says they won't attack innocent moviegoers but will inflict serious consequences if Washington refuses their mutual investigation. Meanwhile, 4 Guantanamo Bay Detainees are back in their home country of Afghanistan. The Pentagon says the men were transferred as part of a joint effort with the government there. The release is in line with Washington's ongoing effort to close the detention facility at Guantanamo Bay. More than 130 people are still detained there. The protests across the city take a violent turn, and a 5-alarm fire destroys several stores over in University Heights. News 12 The Bronx reporter Lori Chung has your weekly chronicle.
And that's your weekly chronicle.
Moviegoers in New York will now see PSAs warning them of the dangers of heroin use. The announcements will appear before select movies rated PG-13 or R through early January. They include testimonials from recovering users who share personal stories about how heroin abuse affected their lives and their families. Governor Cuomo says the campaign is part of the state's larger effort to push back against heroin and prescription drugs. I'm Jessica Cunnington. This is News 12 The Bronx, as local news gets. More of your hyperlocal headlines just 2 minutes away. The annual Battle of the Bronx game between Fordham and Manhattan is Monday. Jaspers play one before that. Saturday night, those highlights and more coming up in sports.
We have more weather straight ahead, so stay with us.
All right, Dan Serafin is here now with sports. We got a big game coming up on Monday.
The Battle of the Bronx, Manhattan and Fordham, the annual matchup. That's Monday. Now, Manhattan did have a game before that one on Saturday.
Staying positive.
Yeah, 2 weeks left in the regular season. You just sit back and enjoy the fact that you get to watch the Giants and Jets before football season ends for 8 months, 9 months. A long time.
Bye, football.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Dan.
Yep.
I'm Jessica Cunnington. This is News 12 The Bronx, as local news gets. More of your hyperlocal headlines are just 2 minutes away. Stay with us.